Bill Maher, known for being the outspoken truth-teller of late-night TV, is back in the spotlight, and this time he's pulling Hollywood's elite into the mix. The buzz around his increasingly daring commentary is playing out like a real-life soap opera, packed with unexpected twists, bold statements, and plenty of shade. Maher has always been the political wild card. Whether you love him or not, he's made a career out of challenging both sides of the political spectrum. But recently, his views have taken some surprising turns, shifting so often they feel as unpredictable as spring weather. Clear one day, storming the next. The big shift seems to have started after November 5th, a date Maher himself has repeatedly called a game changer. So, what exactly happened that day? Well, the answer depends on who you ask. For some, it marked a political meltdown. For others, just another chapter in the evolving story of modern democracy.
Let's tell the usual suspects on the far left that the saying is, when you're in a hole, stop digging. You just lost a crazy contest to an actual crazy person. What a shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and sex see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Yes, if only we weren't so irredeemably unenlightened, we would have elected a black president by now. Oh, what, we did? Asked if racism is built into our society. White progressives agreed with that at higher levels than black and Hispanic people. They don't want your pity. And black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Before we dive into the details, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest updates on Hollywood drama. Critics of Bill Maher are quick to accuse him of pandering, claiming his recent behavior is a desperate attempt to hold on to viewers in an era where loyalty is rare and talk show ratings are shaky. However, his defenders, including Julia Roberts, argue that Maher is simply speaking his mind, even if it means ruffling a few feathers. The latest targets of Maher's sharp commentary, none other than Julia Roberts and George Clooney. Once admired by Maher for their star power and influence, the two are now under fire. Roberts, in particular, has drawn his criticism for her outspoken political activism. Maher mockingly referred to her efforts as Resistance 2.0, suggesting it's doing more harm than good. During a recent episode of Real Time, Maher didn't hold back. "Sometimes I just don't get it with these actors who don't know when to stop talking," he said, referring to Roberts. "You lost. Move on with your life."
And they're right, it wasn't. They could not conceive of a second Trump term, but they should have. When does America ever turn down second? I mean, come on.
For someone like Julia Roberts, known for her outspoken views on gender equality and social justice, Maher's comments must have felt like a heavy blow. But he didn't stop there. Maher went on to accuse Roberts of blaming toxic men and even other women for the outcome of the last election, painting her as disconnected from the average voter. "It's okay to be a woman until you vote for the wrong person, I guess," he sneered. The message was clear. Maher believes Roberts and others like her are out of touch with modern political realities. George Clooney, another Hollywood icon, didn't escape Maher's criticism either. While his remarks about Clooney weren't as personal, they were equally cutting. According to Maher, Clooney symbolizes a larger issue in Hollywood, the habit of celebrities using their platforms for political activism in ways Maher sees as ineffective or self-serving. 2 weeks ago, Maher reportedly blasted Clooney for his involvement in social causes, accusing him of prioritizing virtue signaling over meaningful change. What makes Maher's critique of Clooney particularly striking is the apparent irony. Maher himself has built a career on using his platform to discuss political issues, often with the same preachy tone he accuses Clooney of having. Unsurprisingly, Maher's critics have been quick to call out the hypocrisy. And of course, no Maher rant would be complete without his signature tirade against woke culture and DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. As the backlash builds, one thing is clear. Maher's latest comments have reignited the ongoing debate about celebrity activism and its place in modern political discourse.
Wokeness, because I hear people use the term all the time, and it means something different to It's everybody.
Well, again, I think it's this collection of ideas that are not building on liberalism, but very often undoing it. I mean, 5 years ago, Abraham Lincoln was not a controversial figure among liberals. We liked him. Now they take his name off schools and tear down his statues. Really? Lincoln isn't good enough for you? 5-10 years ago, bedrock liberalism was we are striving to be a colorblind society where we don't see race. Of course, we see it, but it doesn't matter. That's not what woke is. Woke is something very different. It's identity. We see it all the time. It's always the most important thing. I don't think that's liberalism. I mean, I could mention so many issues like
Bill Maher has long criticized what he sees as the overreach of progressive ideologies, both in Hollywood and beyond. In his latest rant, he painted a grim picture of an industry he believes is being smothered by political correctness. It's mind-boggling how they just don't get it. People have minds of their own, Maher said. Nobody likes woke anymore. Nobody likes DEI coming from all these studios and organizations. He didn't hold back on calling out actors like Julia Roberts, accusing them of doubling down on these ideologies despite growing public disapproval. Why are these actors deliberately driving their careers into the ground? He mused, sounding genuinely puzzled. Maher's disdain for woke culture is nothing new, but his rhetoric has become sharper and more direct in recent months. He seems to be positioning himself as the defender of free speech in an industry he views as sanitized and ideologically rigid.
Woke is what was sort of ruining everything, and I know that you're...
No, I didn't say ruining everything. I said that's why Trump could get reelected.
That's why Trump could get reelected.
Yeah.
So the term woke has been, in my view, co-opted by the right and weaponized and bastardized, and so I was surprised to hear you use the term because historically, as you know, because I think you're quite brilliant, that woke is a word used by the Black community to note that we must be aware of social injustices.
But words migrate.
Love him or hate him, Maher clearly sees himself as the last voice of reason in what he calls a sea of madness. What makes this drama even more interesting is how it reflects a larger cultural shift. Maher's escalating critiques highlight a growing divide, not just in Hollywood but in society at large, over the balance between progressive ideals and creative freedom. Whether you see him as a trailblazer or a provocateur, Maher's commentary is a reminder that the debate over woke culture is far from over. Interview 4. Bill Maher isn't the only one taking aim at Hollywood elites. He's part of a larger wave of personalities stepping away from the political activism that once defined the entertainment industry. Whether this shift is driven by genuine disillusionment or a calculated move to stay relevant, it's creating a clear divide between Hollywood's traditional power players and its newer, more progressive voices. Maher's critiques, though harsh, seem to tap into a growing public sentiment. Many people are tired of celebrities lecturing them, especially when those messages feel disconnected from the realities of everyday life. Maher himself has pointed this out, saying, "Nobody wants to hear Julia Roberts going off about toxic men and how women made the wrong choice." That said, not everyone is convinced by Maher's newfound crusade against Hollywood activism. Critics argue that he's being opportunistic, shifting his views to whatever draws the most attention. After all, this is the same Bill Maher who once praised actors like Roberts and Clooney for their activism. His sudden change of tone has sparked speculation that he's simply popping on the anti-woke bandwagon to boost ratings. But Maher doesn't seem bothered by these accusations. If anything, he thrives on the controversy, using it to fuel his fiery monologues. Whether you agree with him or not, there's no denying that Maher knows how to keep the conversation going. So where does this leave us? On one hand, Maher's critiques of Hollywood activism reflect a frustration that resonates with many people. On the other hand, his own history of political commentary makes his arguments feel a bit hypocritical. Regardless, it's clear Maher isn't backing down. For Julia Roberts and George Clooney, this might just be another day in the Hollywood spotlight, but for Maher, it's a prime